This is Coffee Chat, Redefining the Empty Nest. Here are your hosts, Lisa McGrath and Renee Lowry.
Hello, welcome to Coffee Chat, Redefining the Empty Nest. I'm Lisa McGrath with my partner,
Renee Lowry.
And this is really a special Coffee Chat, Renee, because we're talking about going back to school. So we could be going back to school to the public school or private school, but it could also be, as an empty nester, sending your child off to college. Whether it's the first freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior year, it's still sending that child, letting them grow and fly. So welcome to Coffee Chat. How are you doing, Renee?
I am doing okay. I had a bout of COVID myself the last few weeks, and it knocked me out. So I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be here, and it's been just kind of crazy whirlwind in my life. And a lot of that has been back to school.
Yeah, I'm happy that you're feeling better, and I'm sorry that knocked you down and took you off your track, your path. But I'm glad you're feeling better. And then to have all these other things happen this summer, this has really been a busy time for you. So can you just explain what happened with your younger girl? I mean, we knew your older child; she was going off to college. That was all set and planned. But what happened this summer that just kind of shifted everything at your house?
Yeah, Lisa, I suddenly have an empty nest. And I've been saying this whole time, I have 2 years left before I have an empty nest. But suddenly I'm there. Um, it worked out through a chain of events that my daughter got an opportunity to go to a private school in Texas. And I'm in New York City. It's pretty far away. She is staying with some family members, her aunt and uncle, who love her and take great care of her while she goes to this school. So we were fortunate to have them so close there. But this school is going to, it's so much better for her for a multitude of reasons. For starters, um, she's always been an independent person. I used to say this was my child who was born to be an adult. She was never supposed to be a child. She should have been an adult, and that's really hard to deal with when you're talking to the kindergarten teacher and the middle school teacher. Like, I know she's a crazy independent wild one, but she's not suited for childhood. This is not her forte. One day those will be great attributes for her. But now it's really difficult. And so this private school is kind of one-on-one, learn at your own pace. She's a very smart kid, and so she learns quickly. And a lot of the problems she had with the regular public school system was waiting for the other kids to catch up and just kind of feeling like this is a giant waste of time.
Mhm.
So I'm really hopeful and proud of her for making this decision. But not only is her plan to um, do this private school this year, but her ambition is to attempt to finish both all of the rest of her high school credits this year. So she will graduate from high school this May, not next May. And either way, she's not in my house anymore for
Yeah.
this year. She'll be home for Christmas and maybe next summer, but she
Oh,
might be a high school graduate next summer. So here
right.
I am, thrust 2 years early into an empty nest, sort
And
of.
it was unplanned. That's the whole thing, was unplanned.
Yeah, it
But I'll
was
tell
very
you,
last minute.
I'm as an educator myself, I love that there are different programs available to help individualize education for individuals. And so that's a blessing right there. Now she was going into her junior year, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so the expectation or the ambition that she has is that she'll be able to actually complete her junior and senior years in 1 year. So that's quite a feat. Does she have an idea of what she wants to go into after high school?
She does actually, and this is new too. She's grown up a lot in the last 6 months or 4 months or so. It's been an incredible journey, and I think a lot of the juniors in junior year tend to grow up a lot more that year, more focused. So if your freshman and your sophomore aren't there yet, don't sweat it; they'll get there. They're
Yeah.
just it's a growth process, right? Um, but she does. She wants to go into publishing. She wants to own her own publishing company. She wants to find people who are great writers and help them to publish their books, a lot like what you do, Lisa.
That's exciting. I really like to hear that. And so,
Yeah.
so now with this shift that's going on in your life, the kids are gone. Um, and again, like you said, you were planning, you had 2 years left, so you kind of knew it was coming. But how are you doing with this? I mean, because again, you had a range of feelings and emotions about this when we used to talk about her going in 2 years. So what's been going on for you?
It has been a little bit like trying to find my feet. Like
Mhm.
somebody threw me in the deep end and I'm just trying to, figure out where balance is because it's different. It's just my husband and I at home. For a while, we didn't get a lot done because it there wasn't that same drive, that same pull of a routine because we had no third person here telling us, making us do things. It was almost like a vacation. It was very strange. It was really hard to get motivated for a minute. I am currently in my daughter's room that I repurposed for an office space. So,
Nice.
so that's new. But in addition to the trying to find my feet and stuff, I really feel like this is what I was trying to put out there to the universe too. I spoke to my best friend a couple days ago, and she's like, "I'm so glad Rachel's doing her thing that she's doing because you guys needed it." She said that her opinion of our looking at our lives from a lofty perspective was that last year, her sophomore year, we were really forcing living together here because she is a mature child. She is, like I said, she's a very smart kid and she's always been super independent, very much just wanted to be on her own and stretch her legs like that. And I'm not one of those parents either that has a whole lot of nostalgia around the emptiness phase. And I always wondered how I would take it when it actually happened because I would have guessed I'd be excited and thrilled. And that would be about my only um, response. And it's very possible that, something in me was pushing for this separation also because I'm ready. I'm ready to not have kids at home. And yes, I'm sure that after this actually catches up to me and I sense the empty house and some calm longer than a month,
Yeah.
I might start to feel other things than just sheer, oh, this is great.
You're
But
growing too. You're growing too. 'Cause
yes,
again,
that's right.
I mean, you have your own business where you're helping, um, people with their relationships, whether it's husband and wife, but also with their children. So you're seeing
Right.
it from doubly places. So that's kind of an interesting take as well. And when you say that about nostalgia, you're saying this, and as I look across my room and even in behind me, I am nostalgic. I have pictures of my children at all different ages and the grandchildren of my, it's just, and I look at those and it's just, oh, I melt because I'm a sap. I'm a sap. So I have a lot of mementos of the growing up period. But the thing that I wanted to ask you, we're fortunate because of your older child that we were able to ask some questions. And these are the things that we want to think about when we're preparing our children to go off to school, but also
Right.
preparing ourselves. And because you've been in this heat of this moment and juggling everything this last month, could we kind of talk about some of those questions that we
Yeah.
asked and the polls that we took and the answers that we got? Because these questions and particularly the answers are really going to help others, parents experiencing this or getting prepared to experience an empty nest, kind of know that it's going to be okay, just like you're going through. It's going to be okay. Is it different? Yeah, but you'll find your feet again, like you said. You'll find your feet. So, what do you think about that?
Yes. I love this plan. Okay, so what Lisa is talking about here is that I asked my daughter a while back to send out this group of questions to her friends and to her college. They have different chat lines and things like that. And we got a lot of responses, which I'm thrilled about. And it was awesome to see the answers from these college students. They range from answers from freshmen to seniors. These are students from probably all over the world that come to this college. I'm not even sure it's only her college that she was using college chats through. She didn't give me all that details, but I know we have a wide range of answers here, and I'm super excited to share them with you. Our purpose in asking these questions to college students was to get some real feedback, real life understanding about what's going on in their head in a kind of an anonymous fashion, right? Without the pressure of hearing it one on one from your parent, because sometimes it's difficult to express how we feel to a parent or to someone we love or care about. But if it's just answer honestly to a random question,
Yeah.
it's easier to say what's on your mind and how you really feel about it. So, what we're hoping to do in the essence of being prepared, we're hoping to take these questions and use these responses to both prepare our high school and middle school parents for making as smooth as possible transition to college, as well as prepare current college students to the parents of college students currently to really have the most impactful relationship with their child, as well as understand that they are on the right track or what they need to to be on the right track, that kind of thing.
Love it.
So, question number one, without further ado, we asked students, what is something you wish you knew about before college started? And we got a kind of a wide range of answers on this one. Um, the number one most popular answer was how to manage the time I'm working and my personal playtime better. So, time management. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I still struggle with this as an adult. I've had my share of these things, and this is something that a lot of us struggle with. And if you have kids who are younger than college, it's very difficult to teach time management skills. If you have any great tips for teaching your children time management skills, put them in the comments, because share.
Yeah.
We want to know, we want to spread that information.
Yeah. So, as an achievement coach, one of the things that I do help people with is to establish routines, rituals, and habits, and these systems that they can fall back on and use. And it helps establish a foundation. And so that's really important. And so when you talk about time management, um, you're looking at life work balance. And as you said, that's really difficult even for adults to manage, never mind, students going off to school, whether they're in the, middle school, high school, or even at the college, or even those that are going out into the workplace. So a couple of hints, okay, for that work-life balance. And this might even help you, Renee. So a system that I use regularly that helps me, because I do an awful lot of different projects and different things and handling different clients. But one of the things I do is I do the Pomodoro Technique. And with the Pomodoro Technique, that is setting my timer. And typically, depending on my task, I'll set it for 25 minutes. And then I don't multitask. I focus on that particular task at hand. And when the alarm rings, and this is really important too, because I do a lot of my work online. And with my eyes, I have to look away from the screen and look further away and look at something and then come back. So the Pomodoro technique helps me remember to take my eyes off the screen, to look, but also to stand up, to get some water, to stretch, and then I can set the timer again. So, and again, for me, if I was doing something like cleaning my garage, which is a big task, I might put 45 minutes instead of 25. But I find when I'm doing academics or reading or something that I really want to learn, then I'm going to probably keep it at 25 minutes because that's what your brain can handle, right? So that Pomodoro technique is one thing that I would recommend for the time management. But then the other I do is my big three, my top three. I'm a to-do list person. I love my to-do list. However, sometimes looking at a to-do list can get overwhelming. And so one of the things is to look for the top 3 things. So now as an adult like yourself and with your own business, so for you, Renee, it might look, what 3 tasks must I do to move my business forward, right? Even if
Yes.
those things are items or things you don't want to do. We call those Eat That Frog. Brian Tracy had a great book, Eat That Frog. So for a college student, sometimes it's the studying, because they say that for every hour that you're in the lecture hall, you should be studying 2 hours outside of class. And a lot of times people can't wrap their heads around that. So building these
Right.
systems, these routines can help them to really manage their time better. So find the top 3 things that you can do that will help you progress and manage your time better. So those are
I love those.
couple of tips, but they help from any grade level all the way to someone who is running their multi-million dollar empire. These are the things that we fall back on when we can do that. So, but
Yeah,
tell so go ahead.
that's great. I just wanted to add on the method. If you have high schoolers, middle schoolers, and you're using this to teach your children this time management skills, I very much encourage you, especially the older ones, teach them the structure, but allow them to manage the details of it. So homework time maybe is between 2:30 and 5, but they have to figure out what times and when and how to set their timers and how to get everything done. That way they're learning this time management skill, and it's not, again, because parents are great at this, the parent doing it for them, and then when they get to college they're kind of like, whoa, how do I do this on my own? My time has been managed by my mom forever, so it's it's teaching that time management to them rather than setting up the structure in detail for them to follow,
Yeah.
because they won't have that when they're on their own.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention about what you said, I love, and I do this too, the top 3 things for the day. And a great thing about that is that um, emotionally, for your emotional health, you get to succeed. This
Mhm.
is your win. Sometimes my to-do lists are never ending. I think
Yeah.
always my to-do lists go on and on and on. And as soon as I finish one, I have it, inspires 3 more.
Yeah.
So that is really a lot of pressure to live underneath. And it feels like you never can complete it. You never get done. But doing the 3, give yourself a goal of 3 a day. If I get these 3 done today, I'm successful. If I get 1,000 done today, icing on the cake, right?
Woo! Yeah.
Um,
I love
but
that.
yeah, I love those. That's great. Yes.
Yeah. And so what else do you have for us?
So, oh yeah, the answers. Um, what part of one of the answers, or a lot of the answers, were about applying yourself. You really need to apply yourself to your studies. Is a pretty common answer to this question of what you wish you knew before you started school. So I encourage you to, if you have middle school, high school students, share this idea with them. If we polled college students, and one of their biggest answers was, you really have to apply yourself. And you're doing it not because your parents want you to, but because it's important to you, right? As the student. Something parents can do in this situation to help prepare children for being more ready for this would be to separate for separate themselves from, starting in middle school. Probably you can start to tell your kids, look, I don't it doesn't affect me personally if you ever go to school. It doesn't affect me personally if you get good grades. It doesn't affect me personally, other than I'm a little sad for you, if all you do is, grow up and make $5 an hour for the rest of your life. This isn't my life you're working on building here. It's yours.
Taking
I
responsibility.
can't build it for you, right?
Mhm.
Your dad can't build it for you. This is you. This is yours. It allows them to take ownership of it, of their choices, of their life. So when it comes to, do I stay home and finish my essay tonight, or do I go out partying with my friends? They might choose the essay because that grade is important to them,
Yeah.
so because it's not just, oh, my mom said I
Yeah.
have to stay home and finish my essay. It's important to them. So I
That
just wanted to throw that out there.
that intrinsic
This is my
value, uh, it would be the
my
thing.
favorite. Yeah, yeah. My favorite answer to this question is something they wish they knew before college, how life changing it would be I
Mm.
love this answer because um, this is a great perspective to remind your high school student of. In high school, the kids that think this is going to be how their whole life is. And they're looking at it from this perspective that high school is all they know. College is going to be similar, right? Um, and there's a lot of pressure in high school, but from the coaches, from there's a lot of outside forces dictating how they spend their time, how they
Drama,
live,
high school
and then and then suddenly they're on their own. And they get to make these rules for themselves and they get to experience life and so even just alerting your students in middle school and high school to the fact that this isn't everything right now. Yes, it feels like pressure, it feels like stress right now, but there's more after this. This
drama.
is just the beginning part. There's a lot more life after this, so keep that perspective. I don't know if you're aware of this. I don't even remember the statistics, but high school suicides are at an all-time high in our country right now, and a lot of it's because of unrealistic pressure these kids feel
In isolation, yeah.
from right from friends, from I have to get into an Ivy League college. Meanwhile, do you if you're not going to be one of three careers, do you really need that Ivy League education? And there's there's a lot of unrealistic beliefs in high school, and your emotions and your hormones are on high alert all the time. It's stressful.
And a
So
lot
just
of
even the awareness that there's more after
yeah,
this
a
is
lot of times
awesome.
you don't even know the same people when you grow up as an adult. When I look back at my life, and I don't know if this is true for you, I do have some people that I went to high school with that I'm still friends with, but most of the friends I met in college or after.
Yeah.
So the people in high school, what they it reminds me of what other people think of you is none of your business. So stick to what you're supposed to do. Do you have a lot of friends from high school still in your life?
Not closely. I still like you. I talked to several people from high school, but we've gone very different directions.
Yeah.
My daughter just went through that, and she's been out of high school for a year. This is her second year going into, and she already has separated herself from her friends a lot. And one thing she told me was that I thought was insightful is that um, in school, it was like these were my friends because they were close in proximity to me. And now I feel like I get to make friends who are more like
Authentic.
me, more like I want to hang around. And she's like, and I didn't realize it before when it was proximity, but I didn't have a lot in common with them. They were
Wow.
just there,
Very
So
insightful.
um yeah, I thought that was great. But that is college, right? And when you're in high school and people are teasing you and it's all about your looks and your appearances and who knows who, and there's just so much more out there, and our kids are desperately seeking somebody to say shake them and go, it's okay, this isn't everything, maybe high school's not for you, there's more after this. It's
Mhm.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay if you fail high school and get your GED, if that has to happen that way. We don't want that to happen. We don't want to encourage our kids to do this, but it's also not the end of the world if maybe that's their
The
path.
path. Yeah.
You know, if that's going to be more emotionally better for them and they get to start college right away, maybe that's what they need to do. It's very important to be flexible for the needs of your child rather than the standards of what we're used to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discrepancy there sometimes.
So what you're talking about is having your children not living up to your expectations, but allowing them
True too.
maybe have their own expectations?
Yep.
So,
Yep. Within a reasonable context, absolutely. Yep. Yep.
okay.
I love that. The next question. What is the best advice your parents ever gave you?
Mm,
Um, we had a lot of answers on this one. Every single person we polled answered this question,
nice.
which tells us, right? That tells us that regardless of your relationship with your child, most of them have good memories. right? Most of them have taken some wisdom from their parent at one point in time or another, even if it's a little bit of a rocky and stressful relationship. There is still good there. Your kids still remember it. Um, a couple of my favorite answers. We had answers that ranged like big time. From brushing my teeth was one of them, all the way up to focus on myself, regardless of the attitude, reaction, and ambition of others, because the only thing that affects my future is my choices. And I thought that was extremely insightful.
Yeah,
I was like,
that
that's
goes into
great. Kudos to that parent.
yeah, that goes right into what I just said about what other people think of you is none of your business. I love it.
Right? It does. Yes. Other ones included things like be a good person, focus on your studies. I should work hard now so that I can be financially free later. There was a lot of good content there, but I think the biggest takeaway is that our kids remember the good things. So a lot of times as parents, we tend to overthink our, oh, how did we do? We give ourselves this report card and all we see is the negatives, but there's a lot of good there that your kids are remembering, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, and I
This last
honestly
question.
oh, can I just say, I believe that we do our best.
Absolutely.
As parents, we do our best in the moment. And when we know better, we do better, as Maya Angelou used to say. So,
Yeah.
our kids, even though it doesn't seem like they listen to us, they do, right?
Yeah.
But besides listening to us, I think they see our behaviors more. I can remember on my fridge, I used to have something that said, oh, what did it say? Um, oh shoot. I I can't believe what you say because your actions speak louder than your words or something like that. So, but that just comes to my mind. Your actions speak so
Yep.
loudly, I can't hear what you say or something. So,
Yeah, that sounds right. That's cool.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your next
Yes,
question?
that's very true.
What
The next question is my favorite one that we asked, and it is, how would you describe the difference in your relationship with your parents now as opposed to before you went away to college? Um, of all of the people we answered, the options we gave them were far worse, somewhat worse, about the same, somewhat better, and far better. Okay. Everyone that we polled answered about the same or far better. And over half, 57% of them said far better.
wow.
So, right, this was eye
I would
opening to me because
yeah,
as a relationship coach, I get parents all the time of pre college age who are concerned about what this is going to do to their relationship with their child, and how it's going to be and how it's going to be different. And they have a lot of anxiety around that. Even people who are parents that have just had their kids leave, I think a lot of that anxiety stems from wondering if their kid is okay. And
mm,
these numbers tell us their kid is okay. Very often, mostly, your kid feels like their life is great. So
that's
maybe
awesome.
less pressure. You know,
That's awesome.
that's,
Would you say
that's what's good.
57%? 57% said it was
57 said
better
far better.
or better?
28% said about the same. So that was the next highest one. And then a little better was the difference.
Nice. I think that's incredible. That is
Yes.
incredible.
So the next part of this question was, using this scale, why would you say that that is the case? Why did you choose that answer? Believe that it's far better, a little better, about the same. Um, One person said, space allows me to grow into my own person without having to squish my personality to fit into their standards or way of living.
Which is what we talked about
Again,
earlier.
very insightful, right?
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. But for me, this question speaks to parents in the way that, this person didn't say that their parents' standards or way of living were wrong, right? They didn't say that they were wrong and the child was right or anything like that. It's just that you could almost feel the breath of fresh air this person was going through, because it was like they finally got to see the value in their parents' standards and figure out how to make sense of them in their own world. You know what I mean? It's there's a growth there where they're learning, are these my parents' standards or are they going to be mine also? And it's okay that they question that, because as a parent, I mean, if we've done our jobs like we hope we do, they're going to question that. And then they're going to eventually figure out too that, this is right for me. And sometimes it's not right for them. Sometimes they have to really learn the hard way. But it is all part of the process. We didn't follow after our parents and do everything they wanted either, right?
Right.
This is just how it works, I'm afraid. But I thought that was very insightful.
I like that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because we are
Another
individuals.
answer, yeah, exactly. Another answer was, my dad smiles.
Mm.
Um, why do you think your relationship is better? How do you know? Like, my dad smiles. This tells me this dad was probably pretty stressed out living at home, being financially responsible. And now he's got some space and he has the ability to miss his child, right? And he has a little more time to think. Not all responsibility when he sees his kid, but there's some joy. A
And
lot of
pride.
times, as parents of high schoolers and middle schoolers, it's work, 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 bills, 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 responsibilities, responsibilities, and there's less joy. When your
Yeah.
kid is in college, you have more time for joy. And you get to be proud of them and you get to show joy when you see them because you haven't seen them for 4 months, stuff like
And
that.
then
So,
smile.
right, it's great. This answer is just great because it just shows the value that we get from missing someone. Because
Mhm.
we talk about missing people like it's a bad thing, but there's also a great value in it. It really shows us a lot of love and what's important to us when we miss someone close to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. We gratitude and blessings and appreciation. Yeah. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Um, the last part of this question was, from that above scale, what could your parents do or say that would improve this situation for you? Because I was actually expecting some people to say worse or far worse, or but we didn't get any of those. But even that about the same or a little bit better could be improved, right? Um, a lot of the answers were nothing. Things are great. I know my parents are doing the best they can. A lot of them, probably 60% of the responses we got back were in that ballpark. Um,
Sure.
and that again tells me that as parents, we overthink this a lot. We worry, we stress out. We doing enough? Did we do enough? Um, and I think a lot of times we do, because they're just remembering the good. A few of them said things like, just check in from time to time. For me, I think this answer says that even though I'm not calling you mom and dad because life happens and I'm busy, I do appreciate it when you call me sometimes or write me
Yeah.
a letter. So it's on us. It's still our responsibility to keep in touch, but they do appreciate it when we do, even if they're, oh, you again.
You
They still
again.
appreciate knowing we care, right? They
Yeah.
appreciate knowing we care.
So in my time,
Um,
with my kids, I had to send them, and we didn't have cell phones, and we didn't have the computer and the Zoom and all that. So I would write them letters, and I would actually send care packages with the letters with um, pre-addressed envelopes and stamps, and then they still weren't writing me. So then I started writing them a Mad Libs of, "Hi, Mom, I am blank. I am doing such and such. For meals, I am eating blank," and just so they could fill in the blanks, shove it in that envelope, and get it back to me. So, yeah, even though they're
that's
not
great.
contacting us as much as we might want, like you said, everything is probably just okay. So we should stop worrying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, I think. That's a great tool
Oh,
there, those
I
Mad
see you
Libs.
wipe
That's
away a
awesome.
tear. What's going on?
Oh, I was just you know me, I'm a little emotional anyways when it comes to thinking about these things and talking about how our parents are doing the best we can and how our kids know it. It just tears at my heartstrings a little. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Good. Yeah,
But
and that's,
yes.
and I think you just said earlier, we don't give ourselves enough credit. We put a lot more pressure on ourselves,
Yeah.
and so that doesn't help with the relationship piece either, does it?
No, sure doesn't.
You don't want to place blame.
Right, right. And speaking of giving ourselves not enough credit, um, the last answer that I want to mention here is on what could my parents do or say to improve the situation between in our relationship is be more accepting and realize that I'm actually dealing with stuff also, and different stuff. They're at a different place in life, you know. And I know I do this all the time. When my daughter comes to me with complaints, I think it is the most idiotic, unrealistic, totally, what's the word I'm looking for? Has no value in it. You know, I can't think of the word right now, but
I was thinking
it's not
rational.
important. Not important at all, right? It's like there's so much more out there than whatever this is you're talking to me about right now. But for them, that's everything. That's their growth that they have to go through. And as stupid and ridiculous as it sounds to us, it's big for them. And so even just acknowledging that and then offering advice, you know, it's like, oh, I'm sorry to hear you're going through that, as opposed to, oh, call me when you have something real to complain about, you know, or whatever. But if you can just meet them where they're at, yes, I know that it's stressful to try to pass all your classes and juggle your friends. And I wish I had problems that way, but maybe leave that part out. You know, I wish that was all my problems, but ah, but yes, just acknowledging where they're at, meeting them where they are. I thought that was an insightful answer to that question also.
Yeah. So I have to say, Renee, with this chat that we've had, I think one of the takeaways that I'm having is that as a parent, we're doing the best we can, and to lighten up and not to see our children going off to college, or in your case, off to a different school out of state, as shutting the door on a relationship. It's just a
Right.
relationship that will change, and it's our responsibility to allow that to happen. And so,
Yeah.
so I applaud you for, wow, putting the acceleration button on this 2 year. Oh, let's go ahead and do coffee chat, redefining the empty nest, because I have 2 years to go, and then, oh, by the way, it changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, is there anything else you wanted to say today? Did you have a different takeaway?
No, I think that was pretty much it. I mean, we did talk a lot about, you know, different ways to be prepared for going back to school, going either high school, middle school, college, preparing for college, and taking some of the pressure off. I think that's
The
kind
big
of an underlying tone today.
Yeah. I mean, and there's obviously things you can do, like getting the supplies, the backpack, and all the supplies that they need, all the books in the case of colleges. But, you prepare them. We give our children the bricks if when we're raising them, but we have to allow them to choose what they want to build.
If you'd like to be a guest on Coffee Chat, follow the link, be a speaker, and apply. Subscribe and like our videos. You can follow Redefining the Empty Nest on YouTube or join the Facebook group.